All right, all right, all right. How you guys doing this evening? I know this is a little unorthodox for me to go live so early. Um, but I decided that let me just go ahead and do this right now while I'm thinking about it. It's not that I'm not thinking about it, but while excuse me, while I'm here, and it's so funny, right? The few moments that I decided that I was gonna go ahead and go live. Now, mind you, I don't really have much to talk about. I just, we just live. We just gonna talk. Um, the funny part about it is the moment I decided to go ahead and let's just, go live a little bit, my allergies started acting crazy, and I started sneezing and hacking and doing all of this other wild nonsense. But listen, so let's just talk about something real quick tonight. I think I want to talk about um that you got to stop caring, not Karen. You have to stop caring so much. Let's talk about it. Bloom, 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 bloom. How y'all doing? How y'all doing? Welcome to Conversations with Terrence. Conversations with Terrence. I am your word sayer, Terrence. I'm coming to you live from my beautiful, 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 beautiful edifice. How y'all doing tonight? You guys gonna hear me clear my throat? Golly, I said throat. Y'all gonna hear me clear my throat. I'm gonna blow my nose. I'm gonna sneeze a few times during this. No, I'm not sick. My allergies are just being a little wild for me right now. My allergies are being very disrespectful. And the crazy part about it is they weren't disrespectful until I decided that I was gonna go ahead and go live. So and I just shared this. So if you own it, pop on up. Let's have a conversation tonight now. Yeah, here we go. With the whole my eyes gonna be running and everything. It's just gonna be what it is tonight. It's all good. So we're going to have a quick conversation. This is not going to be long because, I've been enjoying my 2 days off of work with absolute nothingness. I did a rehearsal last night. That was it. Yeah, what I've been doing is gaining my time back and just learning. And it's a learning process. It's a learning curve for me that I don't have to be busy all the time. Just because I have a day off of work, that does not mean that I need to fill it up with something else to do. I don't have to be hustling all the time because, like I said last week, my hustling is not my provision. Doing what I'm supposed to do is my provision. So, and then getting a good amount of rest again, just deciding that, what, I'm getting older, I can't run as hard as I used to. And I don't want to run as hard as I used to. Hold on, y'all. Yeah, man. I already told y'all this is going to be the narrative tonight, so you just got to have to rock with me. These allergies are disrespectful. This is just going to be the narrative, and no, I am not sick. The man of God is I just got allergies like crazy, man. It is what it is. It is what it is. But yeah, man. So it's a learning curve for me to excuse me. It's a learning curve for me to just be still. I almost lost my mind today. I was like, yo, like I gotta go do something. I need to find something to do. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna hop on the airplane and go somewhere but there was something that stopped me from doing that. And if that wasn't a factor, I would have been out this piece, dog. So I want to talk about tonight, very briefly. I would say we ain't gonna be on here longer than 15 minutes because tonight is not the night to be on here for a half an hour to an hour. It's not the night for that. It's a quick conversation. So I want to talk about like not caring so much, and this sparked. This thought came from a conversation that I had with one of my leaders at work, and I was very very passionate about a certain situation, and he was like, "Yeah, that comes from you like kind of caring a little too much." And then I thought about that for a little bit, and I sat down, like really really just thought about that for a little bit, and I was like, "Is there such thing as caring too much? Like really?" And then I thought about it. I was like, "Yes, there is." Because there are certain situations that I got myself into because I cared way too much. I actually cared more than the other person cared. Man. And then it's like going back to like what I said last week. I used to be Captain Save-A-Ho. Like, again, don't want to offend anybody by that term, but that's just a term we use from where I come from. I come from Connecticut, grew up in Bridgeport, Connecticut. A lot of people down here think I'm a New Yorker because I lived in New York. No, living in New York does not make me a New Yorker, just like living in Georgia doesn't make me I think the phrase Georgia Peach is only for women, but I hear dudes down here calling themselves Georgia Peach, but you know, that's the type of time they on anyway down here. It's what it is. Hey, no judgment. I could care less. That ain't hurting me none. So it is what it is. But a Georgian, I guess that's what you call people from Georgia. I'm not that. I'm from Connecticut. I'm a New Englander. That's where I grew up. That's where I went to school. You know that I'm a New Englander. So people down here think I'm from New York for some strange reason. But it is what it is. I said, where was I going with that? And then so, like with certain situations, like yeah, like no, okay, that's what I was talking about when I was saying, just don't get offended by that term, Captain Save-A-Ho, So hold on. Oh, wow, guys, here we go. I'm glad I'm here by myself. Oh my god. Yo, these allergies are bugging y'all. I'm glad I'm in here by myself. So anyway, getting back to that, being whole Mr. Captain Save-A-Ho is because like I would care even more than somebody who quote unquote needs saving. You know, I would put myself in situations because I just wanted them to be okay. I wanted everybody else to be okay. Meanwhile, nobody cared enough for me to be okay. You know what I'm saying? So in that sense, it's like, bro, you're caring absolutely. And once one of my leaders said to me, it was like, that's because you care too much. It brought back all of the memories that I had of times where I was like, yo, wait a minute. I actually did care too much. I did care too much. And it got me absolutely nowhere. It got me nowhere. And then most people would say, you know what? You don't always do stuff to get a return and all that other stuff. And you know what? That's pretty noble. That's pretty noble to say. You don't do things for people in order to get a return, right? But there is a rule of reciprocity. Like I don't know why I am on that. I've been on reciprocity for like a month now. Excuse me. I've been on reciprocity for a month now, and I never really thought about that, or that has never really been a part of my life. Just the thought of reciprocity until like my recent years, right? Because it's like, wait a minute, there's a return. There should always be an exchange. There should always be an exchange. And then I would find myself in situations, right? with individuals where I literally cared too much, even though there was not an even exchange. Like the exchange is okay. The exchange doesn't have to exactly be even, but there needs to be an exchange nonetheless, right? But I found myself being the giver constantly, constantly, constantly. And it is because that's just who I am. I'm a giver. And I just keep giving with nothing in return. Nothing is ever reciprocated, right? But the thing about it is, you can be a giver. That's no issue. But you will constantly give, and if you're given to a taker, somebody whose personality is to take, they will always take with never and never having a thought. I am sorry, y'all, and never having a thought of returning, never having a thought to give to you or to anybody else. Their whole thing is to gain as much as I possibly can from as many people as I possibly can. And not saying they're doing that with any malice or any ill will or ill intent, but that's just who they are, how they are, where they're just constantly taking from people. There's just some people that are takers, but takers will. I can't say this. Actually, I can because I've seen it play out time and time and time again. Takers normally never progress in life in a way that they're able to sustain themselves, right? Because they don't have any like sense of I would okay, I don't like to really talk about that part. But how do I do that without all right, so I'm kind of tap dancing a little bit, and I don't like that. I don't like the feeling of tap dancing, so I'm gonna I'm gonna change what I was gonna say. But I've seen this time and time again throughout my life that where takers very rarely progress. Takers very rarely situations change, and I think that's mainly because of the mindset of the taker. They're like, I'm gonna get this, without ever like releasing. They release it to the wrong things, or there's never a situation of me. Okay, let me be to someone that I needed, if that makes sense. They're never thinking of let me be a blessing to somebody else. Their whole existence is everybody needs to bless me. Everybody needs to give to me. And when you're a when you're a giver, like your heart is so big and so pure that when you run into those type of individuals, right? You don't see it until like you're at the stage, the place of burnout. You're at the place of burnout. It's like, wait a minute, hold on. You're only calling me because you want something. Like you start the dots start connecting. You're like, wait a minute, like, and then you're in your feelings. Why are you in your feelings at this point? Why? Because you cared too much, and now you're realizing that during the midst of all of this, you've been used and abused. You've been used. And for givers and for people who care too much, we tend to like really, really get sideswiped and taken back when we finally realize what time it is. When we finally realize that, whoa, they've been taking from me all of this time, and they don't really care about the actual situation at hand, the root of the situation. They just want a band aid constantly, and constantly leaning on you, constantly holding on to you. To hold on, y'all. Man, listen here, Doc. I think this because I swept the staircase. Yeah, I just swept the staircase not too long ago. So sorry, y'all. Just a little backstory. I'm allergic to everything. And dust is a huge culprit for me. And the stairwell was crazy coming down here, and I was like, sit here. It's my fault because I'm sweeping, doing all this stuff, getting the thing spotless without a mask on. So this is totally 100% my fault. So I should have had on protective gear. I should have had on PPE, protective equipment or something like that. I should have had that on. I didn't have any of that on. I'm just barefaced, just sweeping the stairs, and then all of that nonsense is got into my lungs, got into my nostrils, and now when I decide that I want to get on here and talk about something that's worth something, I can't get through it. Well, I am going to get through it. Y'all just going to have to deal with me blowing my nose and sneezing and coughing. Y'all just going to have to deal with that today. Oh, man. But once you realize that you've been used and we get in our feelings, man, and then we make a pact, like, I will never do this for anybody else again. I won't help anybody else out again. I won't do this and do that. Knowing good and well that we lying to ourselves because it's just a part of us to do that. But it just hurts our heart. And it's like, oh, man, bro, what am I doing right now? What am I doing? I got to be a little more careful with who I invest in and who I give to. But we have to figure out, okay, not we. I'm talking about me. I got to figure out how not to care so much, how not to be super invested in, honestly, other people's foolishness. How not to, and it's so funny, right? So in one sense, in one sense of the phrase, I care too much. But then another sense of the phrase, I don't care at all about certain things. Like people, if somebody's talking about me, if somebody's saying something crazy about me, I do not care about that. That means absolutely nothing to me, right? Which is crazy to me. I don't care at all. Never cared. Never will care if anybody has anything ill to say about me or anybody's opinion of me. But I care too much when it comes to the welfare of other people. That is not a bad trait, but it's a detrimental trait if you do not have balance. If you cannot balance that, if you cannot balance, caring for somebody, but being able to make sure that you're caring for yourself as well, or making sure that they're setting boundaries and making sure that there's an exchange there. If you cannot, I suggest you stay away and try to figure out not to care once you, once you be honest with yourself and say, you know what, I don't have any balance in this area of my life. And to be honest with you, I technically don't really have any balance with that because I'm either all in or I don't care about you at all. I am either, hey, I'll do anything for you. Whatever I got is yours, and then on the other end, I'm like, what's your name again? Who you? Never heard of you. Oh my God! But listen, so the gist of this, and I'm on here a few minutes longer than I planned on. I would go much longer, but I gotta get some clarity and I gotta do something because this is ridiculous. But the gist of this is learning how not to care so much, because if you're anything like me at all, the level of care that you have for other people and the level of passion and care that you have for other things could be a detriment to you, because at some point you just literally forget all about you, what you need, what you want, anything like that. You kind of forget that, and then you're like, whoa, hold on for a second. And then takers, they don't care about you. They don't care about you meeting your personal needs. They don't care about you reaching your personal goals. Only thing they care about is what I can take from you. And it's not always monetary either. People can just rob you of your virtue. People can just rob you of, like, like just anything. People will take anything from you. Whatever you are willing to give, people are willing to take. And you have to, like, create that balance for yourself and not care as much, or make sure that if you do care that much, that there is reciprocity involved. Somebody is going to give to you just like you give to them. Or even if it's not a whole even exchange, there has to be an exchange there. This is 2025. There is no way that you should be giving out constantly and you not receiving anything in return. Yeah, I get it. You do things not so that you can get a reward. But at what point are you going to be okay? Well, why are you going to continuously be okay with not getting a return on your investment? That's insanity. That's insane. I want a return on my investment. So if I am pouring into you, I need something back. Just like anybody that pours into me, I try to make sure that I'm giving something back, even if it's not exactly what it is that they gave me. I want to give something back. Hold on one more time. Oh, man. Sorry, y'all. I want to give something back. And this is where we are now. We gonna do this dance. Hold on. We gotta do this dance where there's an exchange. You know what I mean? Or salsa. Like, there's a partnership there. He's leading, she's following. And she leads, he follows. There's an exchange, y'all. And that's what we gotta do. Because I don't want to care too much anymore for situations or people that don't care back or care on the level that I do. Hold on. We gonna get through this, y'all, because we almost done. All right, guys. You have given me 22 minutes of your time, y'all. Y'all dealt with me sneezing. You dealt with me coughing. You dealt with me sniffling and all of this other stuff. You dealt with me wiping my eyes. I am forever grateful for that. You gave me 23 minutes at this point of your time, and I dare not bastardize your time. Time is the number one investment that you will never get a return on. And I dare not make you feel as if you wasted your time. So let's go ahead and do this again next week. I think Wednesday might be the move for me now because I have other things that I'm doing on Tuesdays now because of the way my schedule is working. So Wednesdays seem to be the more logical day for me. So the jury is still out on that. Let's see what happens. But listen, guys, let's just be out here. Reciprocity is the name of the game, y'all. Don't be out here caring too much if somebody ain't, or somebody, or whatever the entity or institution is not caring or pouring into you with equal amounts. So let's go ahead and do this, y'all. Have a good night.